Welcome back to Not Alone with Melissa Sue Methvin. Today, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever felt depleted, exhausted, but still doing all the work and still can't pinpoint what's going on in your body? Well, it could be on a cellular level. And today, I am so excited to have Zineea Khan. I met her on Rider Island 2, and she is a fountain of information. She is a neuroscientist, a biochemist. She is a functional medicine. She is also the founder and creator of the Diamond Way. So I cannot wait to just share her knowledge, because when I was on Riders Island and we went on a hike together, I felt we just could talk and talk and talk forever, because we align so much on health, our passion. Like, we're so passionate about health. And it was just so fun to talk to you and ask you questions, and almost it validated kind of like things I had learned and felt in my own body. And you just met me there, and it was so fun to have that conversation. So welcome today, Zineea, all the way from a fellow Canadian from Toronto.
Thank you so much for that wonderful intro. That walk was heaven,
It really
complete heaven.
was.
I was watching that video again the other day, and I was reminiscing, and it was really magical. Like, you could feel the energy around you, the trees, they were talking.
They were, and it was my first experience. I mean, I know trees are alive, and I do grounding, and I always tell my kids, "Oh, touch this tree." But what you taught me, if we're going to tell the listeners here, I had never gone through that before. So what we did, we were hiking around this beautiful island, aerial resort in the BVI's, and she's like, "Oh, we're going to stop at this tree, and we take off our shoes." And we're grounding, and we put our hands on this tree, and then she puts us through you put me through a meditation, like a mantra and breath
Mhm.
work with the tree.
Ugh.
What I felt in my body and what I saw, it's so hard to describe. But when we were done with all of it, and I look at you, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I saw all of this and I felt this." And you're like, "Yeah, that's what I saw too." So now I go around trying to relive this, and it's not working. Zineea, I need you again.
It's so funny because the first time I experienced that, I was like so hungry to re-experience that as well. And I would go touch every tree, and I was getting so frustrated. But what shifted for me was that you could get into that just by not trying. So a very spiritually tapped in person said, "You're already there. Start from that. Don't try to get there, because when you try to get there, you're telling your brain, I'm not there."
Oh, that's
It's
what was happening to me.
and and I struggle all the time with that too. And then constantly my brain will remind me, you're already there. Don't
Oh,
chase it. Don't chase it.
okay,
Because
that's a good
what I,
message.
what I felt with you over there was very different than what I feel alone or with other people. It's your frequency, my frequency, the forest frequency. We basically came into coherence.
Wow.
And that was so beautiful. I too have not felt what I felt at that moment with myself or with anyone,
Oh,
because
wow.
it was Melissa's energy.
Oh.
We went on a trip with our frequency.
Yes.
It's like we're all musicians, and we could play all sorts of music, but a conductor came and made us harmonized.
That's beautiful. Let's do that
Yeah.
again. I love that. Well,
I
how
loved
did
it.
you get into, if you share kind of the beginnings, how did you get into all, the this health journey and wanting to become a biochemist and neuroscience and, all the learning? What triggered all this learning for you?
Um, so from as early as I can remember, from like age 7, I didn't know what, but I knew I wanted to be. doing something to help people, be in service. And I went into studying biochemistry to study the breakdown of how the body is broken down into. Then I wanted to get into the mind, so I went to getting a master's in neuroscience. I was like, look, if I understand the mind, maybe I'll understand the mind and body connection, right? So it's been like a long journey of like learning about the body. But then really what transformed everything was after I had my son and he had a lot of gut issues, no one was there to really help me. And everyone kept saying he's fine. So for me, so then when I felt that everyone was failing me, who I trusted, the medical system, and they're great, but they were just not there to help me. So then I really had to get back into science and learn everything that I knew, but deepen it. So for me, it began with a deep curiosity about life itself. When my son was going through them, like, what is going on?
That's like me. That's so me.
Right? So
Yes.
and you can't ignore the mommy gut feeling. You just cannot. No matter how many people called you crazy, you knew deep inside there's more, right? So I've always wanted to understand what makes us feel alive, but I never approached it. But for my son, and so that's why I call him my soul coach,
Mm.
because he really got me into that path of fully going into all the layers of the physical, the chemical, energetic, and the emotional layer that make us a human being, right? Because then before I was only looking into the physical layer, um, and chemistry, but now getting into the emotional, spiritual, energetically, it totally transformed everything. So my background is in biochemistry and neuroscience. So in the beginning, I approached healing through the lens of science. But over time, what I realized was there was something science couldn't fully explain, that people didn't just heal because of what they did. It was because of how they felt and what they believed and the energy they carried with them. So there was a moment that shifted everything for me. And it wasn't only with my son. It's like over the years, by studying and observing clients, when I realized the body isn't a machine to be fixed, but it's a messenger that wants to be heard, that little understanding changed everything, like everything for me. Healing for me now isn't about intervention, like what's going on, how can you fix this. It's about remembrance. It's remembering the harmony we are designed to live in all the time. And when I start dealing with any clients, I start talking to them about what are they feeling, how have they been feeling, and that has been a big shift in the way I've been tackling dealing with clients.
And the clients, I know it from the listener, so you host retreats, right? And
Yeah.
you deal with a lot of people with different illnesses, right? Can
Yeah.
you name some of
Yeah.
the illnesses that you kind of work with as far as a lot of the patients that you work with?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of the clients that come in, they've tried a lot of different modalities. They've tried a lot of allopathic and naturopath way, and they're all great, right? But it's just when they come, they've kind of lost their hope. They've lost their purpose because they've been hearing over and over, oh, you have only 6 months to live, only 1 year to live. So the belief system. So a lot of the clients I deal with, has been Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, cancer, or other life or chronic pain, and just to name a few. And a lot of the times I'm dealing with just regular day to day. Like I see a lot of clients online or in person that's out of retreat. And just to name a few, that it all starts with, we break it down into the physical layer. The chemical physical is the final manifestation of all illnesses. Then you have the chemical layer, which is our blood chemistry, based on what you eat. And we deal with TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, uh, then five elements cuisine, to bring the body back into resonance with food. So we change the chemistry of the blood. So whatever illnesses that has been staying in the body, if you raise your frequency, if you change the chemistry, those diseases or illnesses can't thrive anymore. And then you have the energetic layer, which is, it could be your mantra, your belief system, prayers, um, quantum frequency, Nikola Tesla's machine. Um, Changing those also has a huge ripple effect. And the deepest layer is all the emotional all the emotions that we've ever wanted to express, but that we didn't.
So
So it gets
suppression.
stuck.
I always say suppression is the silent
Yeah.
killer. That's what I wrote on my
Yes.
first book because I
Yes.
realized that just with myself. So you're saying that's the deepest layer.
100% suppression, because, and it could be simply as like, sometimes clients will come and start telling me about their big problems, and I say, pause, I'm here to listen to your entire journey, start from the beginning. And sometimes it's the littlest thing that people will ignore, but they'll think it's insignificant. But something like, okay, a quick example, at a client at age 4 went to an ice cream shop, and their parents kind of raised their voice and said, no, you may not have it. And at that moment, she felt shame, embarrassed, or whatever those emotions, angry, sad, and she suppressed it. And she just said, okay, something like that will turn into fearful of being around people, because she got that embarrassed feeling. So it's those subtle moments that turn into, like, later on, unable to communicate in front of a big crowd. So it's so subtle, but those suppressed feelings are what causes a lot of the stagnation in our body, which is stored in our fascia.
Okay, so the stagnation, if you're trying to explain, 'cause some people might not be in the world of energy. Like for me, like that makes sense, but it creates stagnation. So stagnation of energy to move through our
Mhm.
body, right? And I know
Exactly.
that we have like meridians, maybe explaining that to somebody
Okay.
that's maybe not well
Yeah.
versed in energy and understanding, but you have the science background. So maybe
Mhm.
bridging the science in
Okay.
understanding how that works, and
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
important it is to have no obstruction in your body energetically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll try to explain without confusing. I know, like, when you're passionate about
Oh,
something,
I'm the same way. And then it's other people that slow me down. They're like, wait, I have no clue what you're talking
so let's do this. So, okay, when I talk about emotional, spiritual, energetic layers of healing, I'm really describing how information moves through the body. So we tend to think healing happens only in our tissues, right? But it actually begins as a signal, an energetic message that tells the body how to function. So, for example, emotion is, what is emotion? It's chemistry in motion. Every feeling we have releases a biochemical cascade, hormones, neurotransmitters, electric impulses. So when emotions are unprocessed, that chemistry lingers, and it shapes our posture, our breath, even our digestion. So the energetic layer is where those emotions originate. It's the vibration, the frequency that communicates with every cell. So when we shift that frequency through breath and slow down, or sound, like a lot of the time I'll tell people to sigh, like, movement, or even prayer, the body instantly begins to reorganize. And the spiritual layer is what gives it all the meaning. It's the why behind our healing, the remembering that we're not separate from life. When people reconnect to that sense of purpose and belonging, the nervous system calms, the energy flows, and the biology follows. So,
So wait, I have to pause because I'm like, oh my gosh, I
yeah.
just love this stuff. But I don't want to, your flow too. But
Yeah.
when you mention that, when that energy is not flowing is because they're not aligned with their purpose. How often do you hear that with people in the workforce? They're working, and they're feeling so stagnant and stuck. And
Mhm.
energetically, it's because it's not following their purpose, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be purpose like, I want to change the world, right? It's really, how are you giving service? Like, at the end, what changed that shift for me is I want to be in service all the time to all living things, right? That's for me. Like if I see a plant that's super dry, I'll bring water. If I'm drinking, and I'll water it, right? So it's like, are you living in you? What's your highest purpose? What lights you up? And for my mom, she loves donating and feeding orphanages, right? That's her true passion. Sometimes she'll borrow money to do that. So when I say like living in purpose, a lot of the times someone constantly, and the other thing that I notice with clients, I like to put them in short term and long term goals. So that's like getting to purpose. Because a lot of the time people will tell me it's easier said than done. I have bills to pay. I have kids to feed. I have to pay for a roof over my head, right? So I can't really go become an astronaut. That was my purpose before. But I'm like, no, think bigger than that. Like create short-term goals and long-term goals. Create those purpose for you. Like, okay, you want to start eating healthy. You've been saying that for so long. Let's make that your purpose. Clearly, your inner guides are telling you you need to eat healthy, right? Or sometimes people will tell me, I know I've been getting these, my gut feeling has been telling me I should go for more walks. I should do cardio. Do it. Like set short-term goals, and that could be your purpose.
I
Did
like
that
that. I
answer?
like that.
Did that?
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that.
Yes. And I notice this all the time because people are like, well, it's easier said for you because you're living your highest purpose. You're like, you're living that dream, that the job you wanted. I'm like, I had to work for that for 40 years.
Yes.
And I've had moments. I mean, the whole diamond way is actually a journey of my own life, right? Because I've always wanted to. I was always curious, and all my challenges, I turned it into lessons. At that time when I was suffering, whatever it was, of course, I didn't see it as a lesson. But now that I reflect back, there was that inner voice that told me, okay, what's next? There's more to this. There has to be more to this. And you listen to those inner nudges. They're always trying to guide you into the right path, right?
Yeah, but listening, that's kind of what I talk about too. Listening, sometimes people are like, I have no clue. Because right now, like a lot of people that I talk to, their nervous system is just so dysregulated. They're
Mhm,
overwhelmed. They're
mhm,
single mom, working 50 hours. So they're like, I'm trying to listen, I'm praying, I'm doing all these things, but it's not clear because probably on a cellular level, they're so depleted as well,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
so to
mhm.
even be able
Yeah.
to hear and to listen, because your body will tell you what you need, right? If
Mhm,
we
mhm,
listen.
mhm.
But what
100%.
clouds, like for you, from your knowledge, what clouds that clarity?
I would honestly say um, stress, stress and the fear. So I would like to share something that may answer your question. I'm
Yes,
just
yes.
thinking how that would align because what I've noticed in the retreats and also when I deal with clients, after a while you realize that there's a common pattern in everyone. There's always that one, like not one, but there is a pattern. You start noticing a pattern, right?
Mhm.
So what I've noticed in almost everyone I work with, including myself, because sometimes I'll catch myself in my negative
Oh
negative
yeah.
talk.
Oh, me too.
I'm a human too. So what I notice, it's in person, in retreats, on my own, is it's the same core pattern that keeps repeating on every single person. So beneath the surface, people are often carrying anger, grief, and fear. So, those emotions are the natural responses of feeling unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. And when that happens, we stop speaking our truth. We hold it in. That suppression builds like a pressure cooker inside the body. And from a physics perspective, thermodynamics, energy isn't created or destroyed, only transformed or transferred. So when that emotional energy gets trapped, it becomes so stagnant, so stuck in our body. And over time, that stagnation shows up physically as tension, exhaustion, or dis-ease. And if you keep ignoring that, it leads to some sort of illness. So the work I do is about creating the kind of safety where that energy can finally move again. Sometimes it's through sound, breath, stillness, or even the conversation, having this conversation. Then eventually they're able to admit that, I've been feeling really angry. I've been feeling that I'm unappreciated, unseen. That moment of awareness, when it lands, the body just knows how to release it, and it's not about fixing. That's what I keep like reminding everyone. It's not about fixing, it's about remembering. When people feel that freedom in their own body for the first time, there's always this look on their eyes, and it's like remembering themselves again. That part is my favorite because it's going to the body and saying, I'm safe, I'm worthy of healing. Because all those suppression, what really gets into your cellular level is that people start thinking they'll never heal. They're
Yes.
unworthy of
Yeah. When
healing.
they're giving a diagnosis that, is told, oh yeah, you only have, maybe 6 months to live or anything, then yeah.
Always. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So then they start believing that they're unworthy of living. They're unworthy of healing. They don't feel safe. Their body is in a stuck state. So it's all about going back to the nervous system. Because are you in fight or flight or rest and repair?
Yeah, yeah, I see that. I actually see that. I have a friend who was diagnosed with leukemia, but her faith is so strong. And from the minute she got the diagnosis, she's like, no, it's not going to take me. And now she's cancer free, but her spiritual practice was so strong that truly, I think, spoke to her cells, really,
Mhm, mhm,
and
mhm.
allowed her to heal, and on top of some of the protocols. But I think do you have some miracle? I mean, you probably call it something else, but miracle stories at all with some of your patients? And
Mm, okay. Yeah, quite a few. Okay,
yeah,
let me see. I want to. Okay,
I know
top
I had a
two
whole
that.
list of questions, but like I said, I kind
No,
of
no,
go with
it's
the
okay.
flow and it
No,
flows.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I'm just thinking which two to share because I
Yes.
have two. Okay, so there was this woman who has been she's 47, over 27 years of dealing with severe pain, chronic pain, and life has been just bringing one thing after another to her. Like it started with Lyme, then lupus, then kidney dialysis, cancer, and then back and continuing with kidney dialysis. It's like one thing after another, right? And there was a and for 27, obviously she wasn't with me for 27 years, but that was her story. She's been with me for a year, and it was also like one of the clients that has been with me for the longest. And I started asking like what is going on, like how come she's not healing, right? And so one day she came to my retreat, and one day we were walking on the beach, and I'm like really trying to understand what's going on with her, right? Because at this point I'm about to tell her like I feel I'm doing you a disservice, because it goes back to if I'm being of service to others, to living things, right? So I'm here to have a hard talk. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be a quitter. I also don't want to waste your time, but like I feel like I'm being a disservice to you. What is happening? And then it just, before I uttered the words, my mouth wouldn't open. So then I said, and I was like, can I do a diagnosis on you, pulse diagnosis? And as I did, it just came that she was not ready to heal. And it just started pouring. So a lot of the times, a lot of like, yes, I have biochemistry and neuroscience as my in my back pocket, but over the years, I use a lot of intuition. And when I'm with a client, it's like a channel. It just flows. The right question flows, the right answers flows, the right story flows. So then I looked at her. I'm like, X, Y, and Z. Like you're not ready to heal. You don't see yourself as a healed person, right? What's going on? And at first, she was like, "No, I am." And I'm like, "Tell me, how does your life look if you're a well person, if you're 100% well?" And she couldn't. She couldn't. And then she just stared in my eyes and she sobbed. And I just held her hand and she cried literally for an hour.
Wow.
And I
Wow.
just held, and she felt safe for the first time. For the first time, like I'm getting goosebumps as I say
Yes,
this.
me too.
So she just we were in the beach, we held hands, eyes to eyes, locking, and I'm just like staring in her eyes, looking at her soul, and just seeing the beautiful being she is. And it's just she's been programmed in her head that healing wasn't safe for her, because I won't go too much into her detail of her life, but at a very young age, her pattern showed that whenever she was a little, like she wasn't sick or she was 100% better, she was treated horribly. She was never given break. And so she connected that when she was a little sick, they would bring her food, they would take care of her. So the pattern in her brain was, I get love when I'm
Oh.
unwell.
Well, how many children do that? I mean, my own children
Oh,
kind of do. I'm like, wait, it dawned on me that my kids, if they don't want to go to school, they tell their mind to get their body sick. I've told them that. I was like,
Yeah.
I know what you're doing. So you need to quit talking to your body this way because it's true.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, why don't you want to go to school?
Right. Yeah.
I love that you shared that story because
It,
how
I get
many only
goosebumps.
got
Oh,
love because they were sick was
yeah.
the only time.
And you know what? Like, okay, our children, as you said that, I thought back so many times my kids do that too. But, our kids, at least they feel the love. Just to share a little more in depth about this client, she lost her dad, and then her mom left her with like some families that she's never met. So, you know, kids a lot of kids know, most majority kids know parents love them regardless of how they interact with each other, right? With her, it was a very special case because now she felt her dad left her mom left her some other country, and she was gone, right? But the moment that she realized that she doesn't have to be sick to get love, that she has a whole ecosystem of people who are cheering for her, it was so beautiful. For an hour she cried. It's like, basically, and then after that she's like, my body forgave me for the first time.
Wow. That's
Yeah. and
powerful.
and and the crazy thing is, the next day she was releasing different bowel movements, because everything tells a story. She was releasing a white bowel, and I couldn't pinpoint what it was. And then I started, like, asking my head, my guides, researching. And basically, her entire gut mucous membrane was being released.
Wow.
All the old pattern, because the gut is the second brain.
Yes, yes.
So, and so I've been working with her for so long. Like, remember, I went to the beach to her to tell her, I don't know, I'm being a disservice to you. I think we should like break up, but I've never had to do that. And as much as I wanted to say it, I couldn't. So I was like, why don't we sit and do a pulse diagnosis? Let's just see. And it came through. And when I told her, like, I was staring at her for an hour, and we just held hands, and she just cried and cried, and she felt safe to release 20 years of this whatever she was holding.
Wow.
Those, and then the next day her entire bowel movement changed. She comes freaking out. She's like, why is this white? Like,
Yeah,
what is
because you guys
coming?
look at people, because you see a lot in people's bowel movements. I remember you saying you had
Yeah.
buckets, you say that. But it's true because a lot of it will be shown in the gut, right? And
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is able to be, so because in the gut is the brain connection. So when you see the bowel, you kind of see what's going on in the gut, right? And what's in
Exactly.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing like pH tests, like saliva, urine
Yes.
test. We're doing blood pressure. Like, we're constantly measuring different signals that the body is constantly communicating. The pulse diagnosis is great for me because it's on the go, and I could be like, let me see what your pulse is saying, because those pulse is connected to your major 9 organs. So based on the pressure, based on the speed, it tells me so much. That day it didn't tell me any of this. It's like her guides literally channeled through me. And once that happened, her 27 years of that stagnation that she was feeling finally released. And for, like, imagine crying for an hour, right? Like,
Wow.
how
Yes.
healing it must have been. So I've witnessed many transformations that most people would call miracles, right? But
Yes.
to me, they're not supernatural. They're what happens when all the layers of, like, a person finally comes into coherence: their mind, their emotions, their energy, and their belief system. So, like, I often uh l- like, a single moment, a moment where someone feels safe, worthy, seen, like this woman, and finally ready to release what their body has been holding for so many years. Their nervous system literally shifts. Like, I saw her body after crying, like, literally soften,
Wow.
right? So it softened, and then that entire nervous system shifts from fight or flight to, finally, I can breathe, rest, and repair. The fascia softened, because I've tried doing fascia on her, but her fascia would push me back. It wasn't ready.
Yeah,
It didn't
because
want
I've
me.
I've noticed you. I've noticed you do that on the island. You did that for a few people where there's
Yeah.
different pressure points. Is that what that you work on to release it,
So
or?
it's pressure points, which is the meridian. It kind of gives me the map of the body, but the fascia is basically a connective tissue that runs on our every organ, every cell, every tissue, every bone. We say we're a skeletal system, but that's actually incorrect, because no two bones connect, because if it did, we have arthritis, we have pain. The only two bones that connect are our jaws, right? Like the jaw bones. So we're actually a fascia system, because the fascia is intertwined into everything in our body. And it's such a intelligent being, because it communicates with the field around us. What Bruce Willis, Bruce Lipton, what Bruce Lip, what Bruce Lipton talks about, that we have our field, and we connect to the field. So how do we connect to the field? It's our fascia. It's communicating with our field. It's communicating with our body. It's a gel-like system. So it holds onto toxins, memory, emotions, all of it, right? So the other fun part that, as I'm talking about this, what reminds me of, have you heard of Dr. Emoto's work?
No.
Okay, so this, you're going to love this. So, as
Oh, I
as
love
you
all this
know,
stuff. Yeah. Keep
I
going.
love this. So, as you know, we're approximately 70 to 75% water, right? And water holds memory. So, Dr. What's his name? Masaru Emoto. His last name is Emoto. His work, it's a Japanese doctor. His work showed this visually. So he exposed water to loving words and then froze it. The crystals that formed were beautiful, intricate patterns. And when he exposed the water to fear, anger, or negativity, the crystals were disordered and very chaotic. So, if water responds that dramatically to just words, and we are mostly water, then our words, belief system, our emotional frequency are constantly shaping the structure inside our bodies. The fascia, which is, like, as I mentioned, is a fluid based substance, right? It's like spider web all over us. It holds memory, it listens, it
That's why our
changes, it
self-talk is
reorganizes.
so important, right?
So important, because
Yeah.
it reorganizes our entire belief system, right?
Wow.
And around our thoughts, as you said, our belief. And so I always tell people that when someone shifts from I'm broken to I'm becoming, or I'm afraid to I'm safe now, these changes, like your entire body, even your voice, I notice change, right? So the internal water starts reorganizing, their fascia reorganizes, their cells reorganize, the entire body mirrors this new frequency. The moment of alignment with emotional, energetic, biological, that's what creates what everyone would call miracle, what happens, right? But I've seen this in large retreat spaces, or even one-on-one. Healing isn't limited by like proximity only, right? It's shaped by resonance. So when someone chooses safety, worthiness, and truth, the body responds instantly. So you asked me what creates these miracles, or like you something about miracles, right?
Yeah.
It's a shift in frequency, a shift in story,
Okay.
a shift in what your inner water is listening to all the time.
So then, okay, because I feel things very deeply. So I was just having a discussion before about this. So it's like my body speaks first, but sometimes my mind doesn't catch up to like, what's that information? Like I could, I'm beside somebody and I feel a, a different energy, and I
Mhm,
can't
mhm, mhm,
understand what that is, but it's like almost their body energy is sending me a signal, like
mhm.
almost like it's not
So
safe or something. I don't know what it is, right? I'm still trying to figure that
yeah.
out.
So what I notice is that a lot of the times we analytical people will constantly go to our mind to determine what that feeling is. And when I work on fascia with a client one-on-one in my room, it's just me and that person. I'm actually out of my head completely, because when I'm in my head, my analytical brain is trying to um, do all these experiments in my head. What is this? All the experiments, all the questions. How is this happening? What is happening? Where is this coming from? Right. So then it takes us away. But if what you're feeling, if you go more into your heart space, and I don't mean like, oh, get into your body. I mean like, where are you feeling it? Because you're very intuitive. When you're around this individual and you're feeling whatever you're feeling, you've tapped into, like, we have an aura around us, 6 feet, right? And so you've tapped into their aura. So if you really get into their field, and what you're feeling, it's probably what they're feeling. So sometimes when I'm working on someone, I feel very overwhelmed. I feel very rushed. And I'll ask them, do you have somewhere to be? And they're like, um, I don't, but I'm just worrying about the traffic. And I'm like, can you just let go? Or the other time,
I know that's
I'm
hard
like,
now when we don't, people know you feel things. You're like, when you mention things, okay, there's something's off. What's going on?
yeah, right. And then I'm like, can we just come be here? Like you're here for your healing. Let's fully be here. Forget the traffic. Do you have somewhere to be? Like, no. I'm like, then don't worry
Yes.
about traffic. You'll get traffic or not get traffic regardless. Why hinder your healing that's going
Mm,
to happen right now, right? Get
right.
into the presence that your body is here in a safe place to heal. And other times I'll feel like I will be working on them and I'll feel this like um anxiety, and then I have to pause and I go into again my feeling like, is this my anxiety? Because it could be mine, right? It could be mine. And if it is mine, I say, you're not welcome here, please leave. I'm only with this person. Because I tell myself, become the nobody, like I'm not Xenia, so that my emotions don't come in. But when I do feel that stress or that anxiety, I'm like, how are you feeling? Are you feeling nervous? She's like, a little, because I don't know what to expect. I'm like, and you don't have to know. So that thing that you're feeling around people, get into it and feel, where are you feeling? Is it yours? Is it theirs?
I like that. Ooh, now you got me
Yeah.
thinking like, hmm.
Because a lot of the time it's mine too. And I have to say,
Yes.
Xenia, get up. You're not, I'm a nobody. I'm not Xenia right now. I have to, like, it's a constant work. It's, my clients will sometimes be like, yeah, but you have it easy. I'm like, that's the biggest joke. It's not, because I know this. Like, I'm constantly in an observable state.
Yeah, yes, me too. Me too. Even
Yeah.
more so once
Yeah.
you become, you observe, you're aware. Now I observe like, especially my children,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, and then, um, and the repair that you have to do. I mean, if you're doing that live, for parents right now listening, and they're like, oh, I kind of have to do some repair, with my
Hmm.
kids now, as far
Hmm.
on a cellular level. Maybe I should have
Yeah.
said that differently. Do you think by just communication and maybe
So,
presence, like what would be the best to repair afterwards?
okay. Okay. So it's funny that you asked me this. Like, I came back from Mexico 6 days ago. So on my last day that I'm flying back, my flight is at 6 p.m. And my mom calls me at 10 a.m. and she's freaking out about my son vomiting, and she didn't want to worry me. He started this from the night before and he's holding nothing, nothing at all. And I'm like, okay, calm down. His body is purging. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. And she's freaking out, but he's not keeping anything. And I'm like, dry fast. Why does he have to eat? Like, think of yourself, right? So I tell her and she calms down. But obviously my son is seeing her reaction, seeing my sister's reaction, and they're acting like he has some serious disease or something, right? So then I come back and he's still, so my daughter had it and she was done in a day and a half. This was like 10 days ago because I was here. But so when I came back, Zane looks at me and he's like, Mama, why am I going through this? Right? Like he's like, am I okay? And I immediately knew the programming that happened, right? And so I look at Zane. I'm like, hey, Zane, do I look worried? Like, and he's like, no. I'm like, I'm your mom. If anyone should be worried, it's me, right? I'm biologically programmed to worry about you, to take care of you, and to love you. Like, I can't even go out of that biology. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, why am I not worried? Because you're upgrading. You're upgrading. You're not sick. You're Nothing is wrong with you. Your body is letting go of all the things that it doesn't need because you're growing. Your birthday is coming up. You're up. Like, when my iPhone needs to get an upgrade, what do? I go and delete a lot of things to create space for the upgrade. And he's like, oh. And then I hugged him, and then I felt, that's where my intuition came in. His heart and his liver started talking to me. We'll
I
get
love
into
that.
that. So I was like, hey, Zane, can I, like, repeat after me? So I held his heart and I said, thank you, body. I love you so much. You've been doing such a good job in taking care of me. You're releasing everything that no longer serves me. And I love you so much. You work day in and day out. I promise to take care of you better. I love you. I don't take the time to thank you enough. And this has been really difficult. I'm ready to heal now. I'm safe to heal. Can we get over with this? And then we said, I love you, all that. He didn't vomit after that.
Wow.
But when I wasn't here, my mom and sister, and they did it out of love. I'm not saying anything about them.
Yes.
That's how they grew up. They were like, oh my god, he's throwing up, he's losing energy, he looks like a skeleton.
Yeah,
so
the
so
fear, the anxiety. Yes, yes.
yeah. So, and it's that sudden shift. So when I said, I'm not worried, he felt safe. Okay, if my mom is not worried, I'm fine. And then I was like, you're going through an upgrade. So he felt empowered. What? I'm like, yeah, when I delete things from my iPhone to do a next upgrade, I'm creating space. Your body is doing that. It's the most intelligent computer system that has ever been created, that has ever existed. So he's like, oh, yeah, right. And
I
he
love
started
that.
feeling really good. And then when we started talking to his body, like I just touched his heart and I knew what his heart wanted to. So along with this is where I love the work because I bridge science and spirit. My biochemistry, Meridian, neuroscience gave me a whole map of the body. So when I see something stuck around the heart or the liver, it gives me like a whole map of where I can move the energy out, what I need to say. And in my intuition comes in, and then we talk to the cells, the organs, the higher self, whatever you want to call it. Then when we repeat it, what they want to be thanked for, what they want to be apologized for, the body feels so good, like, oh, I've been seen, I've been heard, I'm not alone. And this literally happened 6 days ago. And after vomiting for 2.5 days, when I said that shift happened, he did not vomit again.
Wow. You're beautiful. You're such a good mom. That's a great one. I'm going to have to use that next
Yeah,
time.
use
That's
that all the time.
great.
I'm like, you're upgrading. You're upgrading
Yes,
kids.
yes. I love that.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah, to teach them at a young age how to talk to their body, to their
Yeah.
organs, and stay safe. Because a lot of times I do find kids, they want safety from their provider. And when they're not,
100%.
when the primary provider is not there, obviously there's lack of safety, right?
Hmm.
Like I know personally, that's me. When I'm away, they feel safe with me, right?
Of course, you're the
And
mom.
so that signal is there. And I think that definitely affects them. It's interesting
Yeah.
now that I think of it. I'm like, oh, every time I've kind of gone away on a longer trip, something happens. My daughter ends up in an emergency or this and that. And it's like,
Hmm.
oh, their bodies is probably not feeling as safe.
Yeah, they're not feeling safe. They're not feeling like your love is the ultimate love, right? They're not feeling the same love. They're not feeling heard. You probably give them that safety that they're always heard. No one can replace their mom. You know what I mean? So when you're not there, their environment, internal and external, changes. So chemistry wise, biochemistry wise, their internal chemistry maybe tightens, their fascia tightens, bracing for mommy's not here, so I have to protect myself. And when you're contracting, there's no healing because you're bracing. Like, and I always tell people, like, especially in the world we live in right now, we're always racing. Not just back in the days, we had to go fight a bear, right? So we braced, our body went into fight or flight, and when we're done, all that got released. But right now, we're stuck in this fight or flight all the time, but there's no bear. But we are getting with chemical pollution, the stress in our body, water, the news, the constant everyday, the day to day stress. So we're constantly in that stress state. So our fascia constructs, and then there's no way for that hydration to not, I don't mean hydration by drinking water, but I mean our fascia needs to be hydrated. It needs to be expanding for energy to flow. And what we call fascia, as I'm diving more and more into it, in traditional Chinese medicine, it's the meridian. So 5,000 years old. So, they were dealing with meridian system, which is basically the fascia, right? The talking about kids, and you're not being there when you're traveling, one thing I teach the kids, and I mean, they're children. My son is 10, my daughter is 6, so they don't always remember. But what I tell them is, before they go to bed, 3 grateful statements all the time. And whenever they're eating, I tell them to place their hands over their food. And I say,
Yes.
I'm like, you know, everything is frequency. Everything is frequency. So you are a frequency. This food that's going to go in your body is frequency. So I'll tell them to hold their food, put both their hands over it, and I'll say, like whatever grace you want to give, you could give, like, thank you for this beautiful food. And then after that, I'll say, hi, my cells, you know what my body needs and you know what my body does not need. As this food enters my body, make it my medicine. As it enters my body, make this medicine absorb into my cells as it needs. And what no longer serves me, help it get expelled. And as I eat this, this is my medicine. And so I teach them that. So anytime I'm away, they don't do it all the time, but this also this also helps them vocalize outward, right? It's while I'm not there, that way they're talking to their selves,
Ah, that's a
if
powerful
that
tool.
helps.
Yes, it does. Because I do say, yeah, nutrition is light energy, and then prayer over your food, blessing your food.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I love that. That was beautifully said, and thank you for sharing that. And
Oh,
now,
you're welcome. I think you mentioned faith for a little bit. I wanted to touch base a little bit on faith because
faith. Yeah.
um
Yes.
like, I don't know what it was. You mentioned something about faith was everything, and then my brain made a note. So like,
Oh, okay.
we were
Yes.
saying science and spirituality, right? Like, they were never meant to compete, because a lot of people come and they're like, oh, I've been to like Western medicine, I'm not into woo woo, but I guess I'll give in to the spirituality crap. And I'm and I always laugh. I'm like, science and spirituality were never meant to compete with each other. They're simply two languages that are describing the same truth. So my foundation, as I mentioned, is in biochemistry and neuroscience. So I understand the body through data, through pathways, patterns. But over time, what I realized, that science calls energy or frequency, which is really consciousness, right? So it's measurable, but we're only getting into this now. Like, we're having tools to detect it. So when I work with someone, I'm always using both. The science gives me the map, as I mentioned, and the intuition tells me which door to open first. It's like having both sides of the hemisphere of the brain in conversation. So the left will give me structure, and the right will give me translates the unseen. So together they form this beautiful coherence. So now, going to faith, why I explain that. Faith is what allows that coherence to happen. Not blind faith, but like trust in the intelligence that designed this whole body, right? It designed you, it created you. When you understand how precise this body truly is, you can't help but be in awe of it. Every chemical reaction, every breath, every emotion is like beautifully orchestrated. You see how passionate I get.
Oh,
So for
yes.
me,
I do too. I love it.
intuition is the navigation, science is the structure, and faith is the frequency that carries it all. That's what really is the diamond way about, right? It's the harmony between logic and light, proof and presence. When we live from that place, healing becomes a natural consequence.
So faith is kind of so important.
It's
Yeah,
it's the
so
binding
important. It's the
force, right?
binding
Like,
force.
like
Okay.
you could come to me and you're like, okay, Xenia, like, I'm going through this, help me. And but deep inside, you don't have faith in your body. You just want to go after the magic pill. So a lot of the time, in when people work with me, there's a lot of education involved, so that we rewire the brain, because the faith is what makes everything land. Is
Okay.
It's the missing ingredient, because I teach them back that your body, the breath that has been in you day in and day out, has never left you. Take a deep breath in now. There, your body is listening. Your body has the ability to heal. Your body has the intelligence, and it knows what's good for you. It knows how to heal you. We just have to get back into faith.
Woo! I love it. Amen. I love that. And I
Ah,
just felt that just intuitively as well, and seeing that and hearing other people, and just my own personal journey,
mhm.
where I do think my husband lacked faith. It really did. He had a lot of great
Yeah,
qualities, but he
yeah,
lacked faith in how, we are created and all that. Like you
of
said, that was
course.
the bridge. And there's many things that I notice now, but it is. I
Yeah.
have had many guests, and my faith even grew stronger just because as my intuition grew
Hmm.
stronger and my clarity, and it just kind of keeps deepening because I keep listening, and I've always kind of ignored that intuition, but I always have been. But sometimes you're called crazy or this and that, and then so you doubt yourself, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
but
yeah.
now I'm like, no more, no more of that. I
No,
found my circle of friends that,
of crazies.
yeah,
We've found our circle of crazies,
yeah.
and to go to your husband, like I've actually I felt you really deeply October to now. I've lost a really dear friend who 10 years ago was a huge impact in my gut health journey when my son was ill. And she had so much trauma. She had so much trauma, and what we've noticed, and I worked with her a lot, but she couldn't come out of the loop of being in a state of stuck, a state of stress, sorry. So anytime her life was going well, her body, her patterns turned it into that. When she that stress has become her familiar, if that makes sense.
Oh,
That
yes.
stress has become familiar. So whenever I wasn't when we worked together, she was amazing. She's like, okay, I'm good, I'm this, right? Like, I'm ready to tackle life, the faith, all of it combined together. But when we're not, her old pattern, paradigm, ego, whatever you want to call it, came back and kept saying, this is not safe, because the unfamiliar became unsafe to her. So, and deep root of all was she felt unworthy of love. And when you feel unworthy of love for yourself, you don't care to live. And so, why you were in my thought was in October, she decided to not be with us anymore.
Oh, wow.
And uh, I did know her journey for a long time, so a lot of it stemmed from teen adolescence, all those trauma, those patterns. So the other interesting thing is that all our patterns, and patterns and thoughts, our programming, that's the right word. All our programming happens the first 7 years of our life. If you know Waldorf, that's why until age 7 they don't do any education. It's all play based, it's all imagination. So what happens is, up until age 7, we have two brains, right? Like the not left side, right side. But energetically, up until age 7, it's one brain. So everything that you go through, everything in your life goes through, those emotions, everything, it gets in this brain. After age 7, it separates. So based on you're right-handed or left-handed. So if you're right-handed, you're accessing the left side of the brain. If you're left-handed, you're accessing the right side of the brain. But let's say you're right-handed, and the story of self-love, or even money is the root cause of all evil, let's say, right? It gets stored on the right side of the brain. You're not accessing that side because you're right-handed. So no matter how much you verbalize, I'm ready to become rich, I'm ready to heal, I love myself, but the deep-rooted code, like if we're a computer, the deep-rooted code that happened until age 7, after it's separated, it went to the right side. It's very hard to reprogram, right? So a lot of the time people will say that they want something, but subconsciously they cannot rewrite their they cannot rewrite their story. So there's something called Psych K that Bruce Lipton taught me. So why I love fascia, it's the similar sign. So when you twist your body, cross your leg, twist your hand, Now we're accessing both sides of our brain, left and right.
Oh, kind of like the
Okay.
yoga move that I do,
Y-
and there-
Yeah,
the
yeah,
yoga
yeah,
pose.
exactly. Yeah, and then
Okay.
when I do fascia, like we could end with a beautiful syncs, just so you could understand how easy it is to reset your nervous system. So in fascia, we're constantly twisting our body in very uncomfortable states because pressure is built everywhere. So when we do these weird twists, like think of a wet towel and you're twisting and squeezing the water out, right? We finally release. When we're twisting and turning, we're accessing both sides of the brain. And
Wow.
at that moment, if we say certain affirmation that or listening in what the body wants to say, like a lot of the times right now, I feel like saying, I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I'm not overwhelmed, right? Like, and so it reprograms your
So if
brain.
you just like, so you're kind of crossing the meridian of your body, is what you're saying.
Right, right.
If you're like
Yeah,
twisting.
exactly.
Okay.
100%.
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
It's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
When you're ready to end, we could do a quick little nervous system reset, you and I, just a quick
Yes. Oh,
one.
I
We
would
could do
love to.
seated or standing, and you'll
Yes.
notice how easy it is to just um at that moment when you're having panic attack. Like yesterday, I was hosting a workshop, and this woman came and she was like very frazzled and all that, and she's like, and I was like, settle down, breathe. And I knew exactly, okay, we'll have to do vagus nerve reset. We need to do nervous system reset. So I started doing that. And she was like, whoa, are you an angel? I'm like, no,
You
I'm
are
just,
Earth Angel.
I'm, I'm just twisting and turning your body so that it could decompress. It could breathe again. I'm now you're waiting for me to guide you to breathing. So I'm telling her to stop, inhale, exhale, slow. So it's like, if you could just remember to do that yourself, do some stretches, it decompresses those tight areas, and your fascia is basically bracing to fight that bear, but we don't have a bear. So if you could just like decompress it and take breath in those tight areas, that's when energy will move.
Wow.
And if you add in affirmation, hallelujah,
I
like
love
yourself,
affirmations. I'm
you're,
always telling my
yeah.
kids, I have them on the walls.
Oh, I love it. And that's it. Your cells are listening to you all the time. Going back to, I just saw this book was sitting right next to me.
Oh my gosh. Somebody told me to buy that book. I have it by my bedside.
Yeah, so
I
this is the
haven't finished it yet.
Emoto. This is the Emoto's work I was referring to.
Okay.
Water
Okay. I
changes.
haven't
Yeah,
read it yet. I have
it's
it.
so funny. I just mentioned it and I looked down and it's right here.
Oh wow. I'm so glad you shared that. Yeah, I'm telling you, I could talk to you forever. You have so much information. I mean, I really hope we could host a retreat together one time because I'm like,
On
this
it,
would be
let's
so
do it.
amazing. I mean, I
Let
just
let's do
it's
it,
really
Melissa.
needed. And I feel you've seen it and you touch on it and I see it now. A lot of what was happening in our bodies was just all emotional. And I see it now still with you're talking about, kids. I see it. I see it in my own kids.
Mhm,
So it's through the
mhm.
life experience.
Yeah,
And now I can't
yeah.
unsee it in that kind of lens for everyone
Hmm.
around me. And
No,
so
for
that's
sure.
why I love having you on to really
Oh,
deepen planting
I
that
love it.
seeds in people to that understanding,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
truth of
yeah.
where it's all rooted.
All rooted.
All
And
rooted.
to go back to, do we have time?
Oh yeah, I can go as long as
Awesome.
you like.
Sister, don't say that. You and I are
I
going to
don't
be
want to
here
get off
forever.
because I'm learning so much. So I'm like,
The studio will hand you the keys and be like, you two enjoy.
perfect. This could be a 3 hour long podcast. I'd be happy.
Oh, I love you so much.
I love you too.
We're on the topic of stress. Even on the island, we talked about nervous system a lot. We didn't get to do so much because we were so busy doing other things. But you and I always spoke about the nervous system. Even today, a big topic was the nervous system. So I
Yeah, because
I
I could
think
feel you. You were getting kind of anxious beforehand. I was like, I'm just going to give her a call and say, hey, everything is going to be just fine.
yeah. And I after you hung up, I actually paused. I was like, hey body, like what the hell, like what are you nervous about? Like this is a topic you love so much. And you know what it was nervous about is overwhelming. So it basically said calm down. like, you know how you said, how can you explain this to people that don't know about this?
Yes.
So a lot of the times, like my husband or my family members will tell me, like after they listen to me, sometimes they feel overwhelmed because
So much information.
and
Yeah, that's how I feel about my next book. I'm like, well, I don't want to overwhelm people with this information.
oh, even the book I'm writing, The Diamond Way.
I can't
So I
wait.
looked at it and I was like, oh my goodness, people will like feel overwhelmed with this. And then I got my husband to kind of glance over. He's like, babe, this is like too much. So I was like, okay, how can I give this to a grade 5-year-old, grade five, not 5-year-old, grade five student where they could understand? Because, you know, this is how they're going to wet their feet. And I told myself when I was freaking out, I was like, hey, there'll be a book 2, a book 3, a book 4. We could slowly,
Slowly.
gradually improve that. So today, after you hung up, when I was like, what's causing me this feeling, right? Like, why am I acting like this? And it was like, I didn't want, because the whole point you do this is to bring awareness, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
if anyone is hearing this, I want them to know that they're not broken. My diamond way came from a carbon molecule stuck in under earth, heat, pressure, time, and it could become a charcoal, but it decides to become the diamond. So what I want to say is that the pressure that we go through doesn't break us. It reveals who we truly are. We could become the diamond, we could radiate. All think of everything as lesson, because what I got to know is that our body is always guiding. So when you called me and you gave me that pep talk, I laughed. It helped my nervous system. And then I was like, it because you called and you did that, you kind of broke my pattern for a bit, right? Because you broke my pattern, I got into, why am I acting like this? And it was like, she's doing such a good cause. Can you not overwhelm people? Can you not go too sciencey and overwhelm people? Can you stick to the topic? I'm like, okay, I got it, you know? So when we talk about nervous system, a really good question was, can someone truly heal if they're stuck in fight or flight? So since we were on that topic, um, I just want to say the short answer is no, right? Because again, going back to stress is meant to protect us. So you cannot truly heal if your nervous system is in stuck in fight or flight. When the body is in survival mode, everything shifts towards protection, like that lion coming, the bear coming, not growth. Right. So even that understanding is so huge. Digestion slows because at that time your adrenals are ready to attack this whatever animal you're supposed to attack, let's say, right? Detoxification slows, hormones change, the immune system weakens, and the fascia tightens, as I mentioned earlier, right, to brace for that danger. So the body is preparing to survive, not to repair. So even when you're in that stress state, your body is constantly trying to protect you. So what most people don't realize is that fight or flight isn't just a mental state, it's a chemical state. It changes your breath because you'll breathe faster, right? Your posture will change. You'll harden. Your biochemistry and even your perception of the world will change. And there and the deep and basically the deeper truth is many people have been in fight or flight for so long that, as I was saying with that woman, it feels normal to them. They
Yes.
don't even know that their body is bracing. Their shoulders are tight. Their jaws are locked. Their breath is shallow, and they think that's just them. That's just me. That I always hear this. In that state, the body simply cannot access the healing programs that's encoded in us, right? And it physiologically can't. It doesn't matter how clean your diet is or how many supplements we're taking. Your nervous system doesn't feel safe, and the healing switch, it never gets to turn on. So that's why when I work with people, like, again, whether it's in person or retreat, the first thing that I focus on them is get out of the intellectual safety. Forget that. Get into somatic safety, helping the body feel. So I have them repeat over and over, and I see if their shoulders are reducing, how their posture changes. And it's going back, and you could try it like, I'm safe to let go now and breathe out, right? I'm
I'm
safe to
safe to let
heal,
go. Yes. Safety.
right? And
I
then
say those things when
safety,
I do host
yeah.
breath work,
And
actually. Yeah.
even the most powerful, I'm safe to feel. I'm safe to feel, because people, we're not allowed to feel our emotions. If we feel too much, we're extra.
Yes.
I'm worthy of healing. That's a huge one. I'm worthy of healing. I'm worthy of love. So it's so huge. So the moment that happens, something like profound shifts, the breath, just the breath deepens, the body softens, the cells move from like defense to repair now. And the fascia finally, I could feel like when I'm holding onto someone, the fascia releases, and it releases what it's been holding. So it's so beautiful. So healing can only happen when the body is out of survival mode and back into connection, when the body feels safe. It becomes like receptive, it becomes intelligent again, it becomes open to transformation. So
This is such important information that I feel every provider treating patients, like I think of it obviously on the dental world, but there's so much fear in a dental office. That's why I'm trying to educate dentists, like having just a weighted blanket, having doing breath work with your patient, getting them
oh
grounded first. That's kind of what I'm teaching them. And it's not an extra cost. It's not an extra anything, but you're going to calm that nervous system because they're in fight and flight. Most patients I see, they're afraid of being in the
yeah,
dental office.
yeah,
They don't want to be there, especially if they're going to see the dentist. Usually if they're seeing the dentist, it's for a treatment, for a filling, a
yeah,
crown. They see the dentist with me for 10 minutes just for a checkup. But normally if they're
right,
going for a procedure, they're going to be in fight and flight 100%. So
yeah,
in that profession alone, how much fear are patients coming in? So how are we
so
expecting
much,
them to heal properly from that
yeah,
procedure? And I know we talked a lot about, I learned all the meridians in the teeth. We're all interconnected. So
so beautiful.
we see a lot of disease, is so rooted in if you have an infection in one tooth, well, it's connected to that meridian to another organ. So it's going to affect that flow of energy,
Totally,
right? And that's where it needs to be talked about more because
yeah,
it's a lot of times being
100%,
rooted back in the mouth and there's still an infection there. There's still
yeah,
something we're not seeing, the flow that's blocked. And now we can see it
100%.
in the CBCT scans. We can
Mhm.
see there'll be actually a number. It's actually pretty cool. There's a
Really?
number where there's a frequency change in the bone.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
What machine is
it's
this?
called a CBT scan, and
CBT scan.
and
So cool.
CBCT scan, CBCT scan. I think I said that right.
CBC.
Yeah, and so that scan will literally show a different number where the frequency changes. So that energy, and there's a
Wow.
and the lower the number showing. So for me, I've done it in my kids, and I see it in patients, and that's how we catch cavitations, which is cavitations is an infection in the bone. So that's how we
Wow.
find those in the bone, and which happens a lot of times from people removing wisdom teeth because there's
Mm.
fear when they're removing the wisdom teeth, and then the bone,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't heal. It's not able to heal properly, so it causes a cavitation, which constantly causes inflammation in the body. And whatever tooth, obviously it's the third molar, which interconnected. Depending if it's the top, it'll be connected to your heart, right? And the bottom connected to your gut. So that's why this. I see it. I see it. It makes so much sense to me.
Isn't the body so
It
amazing?
is. I am
Like,
so passionate about learning my body. I always have. That's all I've ever studied.
yeah. And now is the CBCT scan offered only like through dental work or?
So not every dentist has it. So you'd have to kind of call around. A lot of times they're the ones who are orthodontists who do airway, but I'm a big advocator for seeing a biological dentist. They
Okay.
should have this machine. I mean, those are the questions you would ask. I have a few episodes actually that I can share where there's a
Oh,
list of
please.
question. There's also a website you can look at, but there is a list of question. You could just pick up the phone. Like I do that because I'm very
Yeah.
particular where I work. So I'll
Yeah.
go around and just make it seem like I'm a patient. But like, oh, do you have a CBD scan? Do you do uh, the saliva swab where we check the microbiome in the mouth? Do you
Mm-hmm.
do ozone therapy? Do you
Mm.
do so? That's what biological dentistry will do and look for because
Mm.
that could be also if someone's not healing anymore, like not healing. Well, let's look in the mouth. Let's see
Hmm.
if there's a block in the meridians from this infection growing in the bone or a tooth or the gums or and
Right,
so
right.
so a lot of
I love
times,
it.
yeah. So
I
that's
love this so much. I actually, we all need to go to the dentist, but I'm so scared because a lot of the, as you know, a lot of the dentist places, they have so much chemical exposure, heavy metal exposure.
yes,
The heavy metals that you're supposed to remove it properly.
yes.
They
It's called
didn't
the
do.
smart. It's called smart. The way they have to do it. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't know. I wish I knew you then, but I didn't have this, and so I went and they didn't do the smart way, and I was exposed to more heavy metals when they were taking it out. So then I had to go through this whole
Yeah,
detox,
because for
and
the mercury, yeah, the
yeah,
mercury.
and did I go through massive fear? 100%. And I realized that I was getting sick. I mean, of course, the heavy metals were there, but I was making myself more sick from that fear that I was carrying, like, oh my god, heavy metal. So then finally I had to stop, and I was like, I eat really well. I'm going to fast, and everything is going to be gone from my body. Again, I claimed it. The faith came in. I affirmed. And heavy metals are everywhere, and so the constantly we're watching how we could, maybe once a week I take down diatomaceous earth, um, zeolite. Those are great for heavy metal binding, right? So, or like, if I want to go more the herbal, I make a shot glass for kale, basil, cilantro, and cilantro and basil are great for heavy metal
Yeah, to bind
extraction.
them, right? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So I know we're
I know, I
over
feel
the
like
time.
that, but this is so
Yeah,
important. So, because obviously our environment, like mold, is one that it seems like we
huge.
go on trips to California, we stay in a hotel, and my son is such a messenger for mold, and my mom
Hmm.
sneezes, and like you said, we can't. Our environment will always have these things, so maybe not fear it, but also
Hmm.
use these binders, use these things to constantly a little bit, detox it out of our
Right.
bodies, right?
Right, right. And I always tell people to begin with observation, right? Like, not perfection. Like today after your call, I went into observation mode, and notice how your body responds to everyday things like the food you eat, the conversations you have, the pace you live at. Do you feel more open, warm, or clear afterwards? Or do you feel more tense and heavy? Those sensations are your body's way of communicating with you, right? And the body speaks in patterns. So tightness, fatigue, cravings, pressure, even inspiration. Like you don't get any inspiration, right? When you learn to read those signals that your body is constantly sending you, you realize your body has been guiding you all along. So that's why, after I spoke to you, I went into that observation mode. I was like, what's going on? And then my body was saying, calm down, don't overwhelm people, don't go a lot of into the science. Like, you're here to make aware to people what is one thing that you want them to walk away with. So I think we touched base on that, and I
Yes, I
loved
think, and
everything
then
about it.
because I know we'll have another podcast, 100%. But I want people to be able to find you. How can they find you? And your book, The Diamond Way, will be out soon, right? Or it's
Yes,
soon. But how can
so
they, if
excited.
somebody wants to work with you or wants to go on one of your retreats, how they can find you?
So I'm revamping my whole website, so they could go to my Instagram. I'm making updates there. I'm also revamping my whole website, Zineea.com. It's on my Instagram, and just revamping because the more clients I deal with, I'm noticing how to make it more simpler, how to make it more attainable to people, right? And as a thank you to you, Melissa, as a token of my gratitude, I actually created a simple practice called the art of listening to your body. I do that with a client, but it's very curated with each client. But for your listeners, I wanted them to have a step-by-step 7-day process of how to listen to their body and
Ooh, I
really get
love
into
that.
their
I can't wait to
and
share it.
and listen to the signals. So by the time I'm going to send it over to you, or like I could send you my link and the code for them to get it for free, and they can start a 7-day practice to really connect with your body,
Wow,
because that
powerful. I can't
and
wait. Thank
yeah,
you for
so
what a gift.
no
I mean,
problem.
everybody, this is a huge gift. This is a huge gift to even learn how to listen to our bodies. This is powerful. Zineea, I love you and I miss
Oh,
you.
I
I
love
can't
you.
wait to
I
see you. You
miss
got
you.
to come visit.
Visit me.
And
Visit
yes,
me.
I'll come to Canada. I always do come visit. But I
Please
will
do.
have to continue. I feel like there's still so much we can
So
share. You have,
much.
so much information that is vital and for survival and for living a life with joy and happiness and just that
Oh,
awareness. So I just want to thank you. And
oh.
you are such a blessing. You are Earth Angel. You really are.
Oh, so are you, my soul sister. I love you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me, inviting me into your beautiful world. I love you so much. The moment we met, I don't know if you remember, we had that instant connection. And,
Yes.
you mentioned earlier about hosting retreats. I already saw that. It
Woo.
happened.
Oh,
It
okay.
already happened.
Let's go.
So, so let's honestly make it into reality because I've been doing a lot of women's retreat lately, collaborating, and it's been beautiful. So you're such a gem to this world,
Thank
and you
you.
have such wonderful, like, so much powerful information that people don't know. Like, I've learned so much about the dental work, and one of the fear about the whole dental world prevents me and my kids to go to the dentist. I try to find biological dentist, and like I said, I went for heavy metals and it still wasn't. So we'll have to get
It's
in
hard
touch.
in Canada. Trust me, I've tried to help some people to find one, and they're out there. There definitely are. I mean, especially where you're at.
Yeah,
But it is hard, and I know a lot of people always ask me too, and I'm like, okay, well, let me call around because I have the questions and whatnot. But I
right.
can't do that for everybody. But I do have a
Yeah,
list of questions that you could just call
please.
and ask, and I'll send that to you too.
Yes,
And
thank
yeah,
you.
let's do it. I know a
Yeah,
lot of
and
women. I would love to come to this retreat. Let's go teach the world how to listen to their bodies and how to
I
heal.
love it. I love it. Yes, let's do it. Oh, thank
Okay.
you again. Thank you again
Yes.
for all your time and
Thank
your beautiful
you.
presence.
Thank you. Thank
Mwah.
you for your knowledge. Bye.